It's worth pausing on how a football jersey is rarely just polyester and ink. It's a claim to history. Writing this week, Julia Gaffield looks at why FIFA blocked Haiti from wearing a kit featuring symbols of its 1804 revolution. It feels like a modern echo of a long-standing effort to quiet Haiti's past. Also writing this week, Alasdair Howorth examines a different kind of national expression through Cabo Verde's philosophy of morabeza. While one nation faces institutional silence, the other uses the pitch to gather a diaspora under a specific cultural code. There's a tension here between what global governors allow a team to say and how a small island nation chooses to define itself. FIFA's recent ban on a Haitian soccer jersey featuring the Battle of Vertières might look like a simple rules violation. But writing 2 days ago, Julia Gaffield, professor of history, William and Mary, suggests the move fits a much older pattern of global censorship. Notice how she links this modern bureaucratic veto to the historical smear campaigns against Jean-Jacques Dessalines, the leader who dared to declare Haiti's independence.
Ahead of its first match in the 2026 World Cup, the Haitian national soccer team was forced to make a last-minute change. But it didn't have anything to do with its roster or travel plans. It was the team's jersey. FIFA, the sport's global governing body, said the jersey design violated its rules, which banned political slogans or imagery. FIFA didn't elaborate on which components of the jersey were problematic, but the issue almost certainly stemmed from the small image of a group of people holding the Haitian flag that appeared on the right hip of the jersey. After the decision was made, a spokesperson for the team confirmed that the original jersey included an image depicting the Battle of Vertières and some independence heroes raising the Haitian flag. The commemoration was doubly symbolic, since Haiti officially qualified for the World Cup for just the second time in the men's tournament's history on November 18, 2025, which also marked the 222nd anniversary of the famous 1803 battle that secured Haiti's victory over France in its war for independence. While the spokesperson for the team described the image as including some independence heroes, I think it's safe to assume that Jean-Jacques Dessalines, who led the Haitian revolutionaries during the Battle of Vertières, is the central figure of the vignette. The subject of my 2025 book, I Have Avenged America, Dessalines was the man who declared Haiti's independence from France, and he was Haiti's first head of state. Read more. Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Reassessing the Haitian Revolutionary Leaders' Legacy Leaders. But because of his radical and violent fight for freedom, Dessalines' enemies often described him as ferocious and barbaric, both during his lifetime and in the centuries after his death. They sought to undermine his leadership and undermine Haiti as a country, depicting him as a figure whose sole purpose was violence for violence's sake, rather than a revolutionary driven by any ideological or political commitments. A successful slave revolution. In the late 17th century, France had colonized the western third of Hispaniola, the island that Haiti now shares with the Dominican Republic. By forcing enslaved men, women, and children to work on sugar and coffee plantations, the French turned the colony, which they called Saint-Domingue, into one of the wealthiest in the world. In August 1791, enslaved men and women rose up in revolution.
It was the world's first and only successful slave revolution. Within 2 years, they forced the French to abolish slavery. The Haitian Revolution, as the event is known today, became a war for independence only when the French tried to reinstitute slavery in 1802. Dessalines declared Haitian independence on January 1, 1804, and Haiti became the first nation to permanently ban slavery. The silencing of the revolution. The effort to discredit the Haitian Revolution by targeting Dessalines began during the War for Independence against the French. Criticism only intensified after the Declaration of Independence. That year, French propagandist Louis Dubroca, a mouthpiece of the Napoleonic government, published a slanted, factually incorrect biography of Dessalines. Even though the book got some basic facts wrong, such as claiming that Dessalines was born in Africa, its impact has been indelible. Cunning and hypocritical, Dubroca wrote, Dessalines is also brutal, impetuous, and violently excessive. He inspires a kind of terror in all around him. An image that accompanied an 1806 Spanish translation of the book still haunts the memory of the Haitian Revolution. It depicts Dessalines hoisting a sword in one hand and holding the severed head of a white woman in the other. In the decades after the revolution, opponents of the young nation routinely claimed that Dessalines had massacred the entire white population on the island after declaring independence. Yes, in the context of ongoing war with France, Dessalines executed some French citizens, including those who had participated in Napoleon Bonaparte's bloody campaign from 1802 to 1803 to regain control over the colony and reintroduce slavery. After 1804, however, hundreds of white French people remained in Haiti and were naturalized as Haitian citizens, securing equal rights under Dessalines' 1805 Haitian constitution. But the facts didn't matter. The hyperbolic narrative of unmitigated violence served to discredit and undermine the revolution's successes. Thomas Jefferson became so worried that enslaved people in the United States would be inspired by the Haitians that in his correspondence he frequently depicted the Haitian Revolution as a violent upheaval rather than a struggle for freedom. Jefferson went on to ban trade with Haiti in 1806, and the U.S. did not formally recognize Haiti's independence until 1862.
The strategy of denying Haiti's success became so effective that the Haitian anthropologist Michel Rolph-Trouillot called it the silencing of the Haitian Revolution. A pattern emerges. The World Cup jersey ban marks Haiti's second sartorial controversy of 2026. In early 2026, the International Olympic Committee required Haiti's Winter Olympics team to modify its opening ceremony outfit for similar reasons. The garments, designed by Stella Jean, a Haitian-Italian fashion designer, featured a painting of the Haitian revolutionary Toussaint Louverture, Dessalines' fellow revolutionary. Once again, the design was deemed political. Dessalines and Louverture fought together throughout the revolution, but they are often portrayed as opposites. Louverture, in this framing, is strategic, diplomatic, rational, and reasonable. In contrast, Dessalines is typically described as violent, unthinking, emotional, and heartless. But there's a noteworthy distinction between the Olympic ban and the current one imposed by FIFA. For the Olympics opening ceremony, the banned outfits depicted a single specific person, Louverture. In the case of the World Cup jerseys, the mere implication of Dessalines standing alongside his fellow revolutionaries was enough to elicit a backlash. Ever since the Haitian revolutionaries first rebelled against the French in 1791, the pro-slavery and imperialist powers of Europe and the Americas had a special interest in ensuring that Haiti failed. Both then and now, targeting revolutionaries like Dessalines has supported that goal. The irony is that more people may be learning about Haiti's revolutionary history in the process. Saeta, the company that designed the controversial jersey, has announced on Instagram that it will restock it. The jersey has become a fan favorite.
Julia Gaffield illustrates how a global bureaucracy like FIFA can effectively erase a nation's foundational memory by labeling its origin story political. The image of Jean-Jacques Dessalines and the Battle of Vertières is treated as a violation rather than a birth certificate, suggesting that for some, the price of entering the global arena is a mandatory historical amnesia. Turning to Alasdair Howorth's account of Cabo Verde, the dynamic shifts from external policing to internal willpower. While Haiti is forced to scrub its symbols, Cabo Verde leans into its own cultural philosophy of morabeza. The interesting thing is that both pieces treat the football pitch as a site for processing the scars of slavery and colonial neglect. Read alongside Gaffield, the no-stress motto Howorth describes starts to look like more than a team-building exercise. It appears as a successful attempt to package a history of hardship, specifically the survival of Portuguese abandonment, into a performance of identity that the world actually accepts. Where Haiti's revolutionary symbols are seen as a threat to the game's neutrality, Cabo Verde's philosophy is embraced as the secret to its success, revealing a lopsided boundary for which national stories are allowed to be told out loud.
Cabo Verde's national team is at the World Cup for the first time in their history. To understand why they might surprise everyone, you need to understand morabeza. It is Sunday, October 12th, 2025, in Sucupira Market. Sitting in the shadow of the Estadio de Várzea and the Plateau of Praia, temporary stalls are encroaching onto the street, full of merchants selling everything from fruit to electronics. Eventually, two nondescript minibuses pull up to the market, and the Cabo Verde national team disembarks. They will be playing the most important match of their lives in 24 hours for a chance to play at the World Cup. But at the moment, they are relaxed and enjoying themselves. Some greet a number of the women at the stalls and take photos with some youngsters. Others chat with the passers-by who join them as they walk down the street over the next hour. Hours earlier, in the Hotel Perla, the players spent their morning with family. Nuno da Costa could be spotted speaking with an elderly relative in the lobby. Vice-Captain Vozinha was giving tickets to a kid who had made him a poster. There was an air of some friends at a spa on holiday, rather than a group of athletes on the verge of the biggest moment of their career. But this is Cabo Verde. The national slogan, "No Stress," is ubiquitous and inescapable. From the murals of the nation's great poets on the Rampa dos Poetas, to the football shirts donned by every other person, emblazoned with the number 10 and the name No Stress, Cabo Verde is a nation that takes relaxation seriously. For Roberto Pico Lopez, that philosophy carries on to the football pitch. We have a saying, no stress. That's actually the national motto, morabeza. It's the national sort of slogan. The Irish-born defender told Africa is a country ahead of the crunch match against Eswatini. It's probably something I had to adapt to, because obviously back home, I'm the sort that, on the day before a game, just need me alone. I just want to be in my own headspace, he said. Here it's almost the opposite. They just need people's energy around. They need to be sort of occupied. They need to be relaxed. That's what helps, being around the family and friends. Morabeza, the Cabo Verdean concept of hospitality, warmth, and no stress, pervades every aspect of culture, including football. You might even say it's the secret to their success. But Morabeza is more than a quaint island lifestyle, devoid of problems. It is quite the opposite. It is a sense of hospitality and obligation, forged across centuries of enslavement, followed by the famines of the early 1900s caused by the Portuguese abandonment of the islands once slavery was abolished. Growing up, I saw Morabeza as something that was in-house, how we treated each other, explains Cabo Verdean academic Terza Lima Neves. If your neighbor came by and it's lunchtime, you have an obligation to invite your neighbor in for lunch. Whether it be lunch or tea time, you have that obligation, even if they don't stay, even if you don't have food. Morabeza is not a passive concept. It demands action and is reciprocal. That reciprocity is writ large in the Blue Sharks. In the aftermath of their 3-0 victory over Eswatini at the National Stadium, the team immediately traveled to the Estadio de Várzea, the spiritual home of Cabo Verde, where the first flag of an independent nation was raised in 1975. There, the team was met by thousands of fans and a stage erected for the nation's biggest party. There was a spiritual communion on the pitch as players intermingled with fans. Vozinha spent much of the evening greeting anyone and everyone, thanking them for their support, while Livermento's brother Jur and his Dutch hip-hop group, Broederliefde, performed on stage for free. That obligation to Cabo Verde is what also drove the team to go to the busiest market in the country the day before a match, just to greet the community. With no players in the team based on the islands, international breaks are dominated by meetings with families, friends, and the Cabo Verdean community. The World Cup is no exception. Instead of making camp somewhere in Europe or the US, the Blue Sharks have been on a tour of Cabo Verde. Over 4 days, the team visited the islands of São Vicente, Sal, Fogo, and Santiago, while Federation President Mario Semedo had to apologize for the team's inability to visit the 5 other inhabited islands. The team traveled to Portugal before going to Boston, where the largest community of Cabo Verdeans outside the islands live. But even Boston was not enough. The team visited various towns in New England, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, where they played their final pre-tournament friendly in East Hartford in front of a raucous home crowd. Where other national teams would consider these journeys an unnecessary hassle, for the Blue Sharks, they are an essential part of the preparations. There's a responsibility to the diaspora, says Terza.
It would be strange if the team did not land in New England first to greet the diaspora's biggest population. We've acted inherently Cabo Verdean and put morabeza 100% on display when you see the number of people who showed up everywhere. But what the team reaps, it sows. The coherent identity reinforced by these rituals is what makes Cabo Verde so successful. Despite being one of the most diverse squads at the World Cup, with players born in Ireland, the Netherlands, France, Portugal, and the US, it is arguably one of the most cohesive sides at the tournament. While other teams are in a constant state of flux, the Cabo Verdean team is completely settled, with every player understanding their role and the starting 11 almost writing itself. From the beaches of Brazil, to the tactical structure of Portugal, through to the total football of the Netherlands, football is just another area of culture in Cabo Verde, where disparate ideas are mixed to create something unique. This team is defensively structured, playing a 4-3-3 in a near carbon copy of something you would expect from Jose Mourinho. But unlike Portuguese football, there is an emphasis on expression and jogo bonito from Brazil, the country that, until this year, every Cabo Verdean supported at the World Cup. In the last few years, the influx of Dutch-born players, all coming from the same community of Cabo Verdeans in Rotterdam, has brought with them a desire to play a more possession-based type of football. While Cabo Verde will play defensively and reactively, do not expect them to just park the bus. This team wants to play out from the back before finding one of their many talented wide forwards. That cohesive footballing identity is holistic and enforced by social practices, like head coach Bubista's insistence that the only language spoken in training and team meetings is Criollo. Players who previously never spoke Criollo are forced to learn it and connect with being Cabo Verdean. I think it's important, Pico explained. I'm here not to just play football, but be part of something bigger, to try and unite players and people together. I think we do that really well. That identity centered around relaxation and connection has left its mark on the pitch, and in some way explains the Blue Sharks' remarkable ability to deal with pressure. Every major tournament that Cabo Verde has competed in, they have exceeded expectations. In the 4 previous Africa Cup of Nations tournaments they have qualified for, they have only lost 1 group game and gone toe-to-toe with Morocco, South Africa, Egypt, and Cameroon without losing. If there is any nation that can cope with the pressure of playing at the World Cup for the first time in their history, it's Cabo Verde. Now, for the first time in history, the whole world will be exposed to the morabeza at the heart of Cabo Verde. And thanks to the large diaspora in the US, despite Trump's best efforts, Cabo Verdeans will bring the color to the World Cup. We are proud in this moment, and we're going to show that pride unapologetically, in our way, says Terza, who will be at the Blue Sharks' opening game against Spain. Let us show you what it looks like to be in the World Cup as Cabo Verdeans.
What lingers is the friction between a nation's private memory and its public uniform. While Haiti's revolutionary symbols were scrubbed from the fabric by distant officials, Cabo Verde's morabeza was carried in the players' quiet hospitality. One story was silenced by a rulebook, the other was sustained by a shared spirit. These moments suggest a match is rarely just about the score, but about the right to exist out loud. When a global stage demands a sanitized version of history, what parts of a people's soul are left behind in the locker room?